Hey everybody, what's going on? Aslan here, but joined by the two best guys on the beat, Ira Schoffel, managing editor of WarChant.com, and Corey Clark, our senior writer. If you're not a member of WarChant.com, what are you waiting for? Use the promo code WarChant30 for 30 free days of access to the ultimate Seminole sports source. All right, so on Sunday afternoon, we did our roundtable discussion led by you, Mr. Schoffel, where we talked about lots of things. I think the first question was whether or not there should be any concern about Florida State not having named a starter at quarterback yet. And then about what, like 9-ish, 9:30 or so, Florida State went ahead and tweeted, because it's 2019, that's what you do. They tweeted their starting quarterback is James Blackman. I guess we'll start with you, Ira, obviously. Hi, Corey. You and I talked about this plenty on Wake Up War Chant. People can listen to it when it drops at midnight. I guess the easy generic question, were you surprised? And I guess just your first sort of thoughts on James Blackman being the starting quarterback for Florida State.
No, not surprised. And I actually held back on that roundtable. We're going to post it tomorrow because, with the news of the evening. No, I mean, it's not a surprise. I mean, I think most of us expected James Blackman to get the job. I think the timing is a little odd. My guess is, camp sort of officially ended with that scrimmage on Saturday. So this week starts game week. Monday, Willie will have his press conference at noon. So I think from that standpoint, I guess it makes sense. Camp is done. The battle is over. You gave Alex Hornibrook his chance, and James Blackman still won the starting job. I'm actually going to write a column about it as well that people can find at WarChant.com. And basically, the premise of that column is this is a good sign, because it certainly would have been a bad sign if James Blackman had gotten beaten out by a guy who's been on campus less than 2 months. It would tell you that James Blackman just isn't the guy they want to lead this offense after investing, 3 years in the program.
Corey, I guess same question to you. Maybe scale of 1 to 10. How about I ask you that original question? How surprised were you that James Blackman was named the starter? And I guess just your thoughts that after waiting his turn, quote unquote, he won the job. Sounds like fair and square.
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, a 1 as far as being surprised he was named the starter. I thought we all thought that was going to be the case, that he was going to win. There's a couple things. Number one, obviously he's got a much stronger arm than Hornibrook. That's not one of Alex's strengths. Is his powerful arm. But I think one of the main things is that he obviously knows the offense. He learned the offense, and when we asked Willie Taggart about it on Monday, he might bring up the intangibles. And the kid is a great leader, and they all love him. But if you're not any good on the field, none of that really matters. That's just an act to go win the job. Win a job strictly by being a great kid. You need to actually produce on the field, and I think that's what he did. So that's number one. And then number two, kudos to my man for sticking it out. It's 2019. No quarterback, when they lose a job, stay. Especially he lost to a kid that was a junior. So for all we knew, last year when he lost the job to DeAndre Francois, we thought he was going to have to wait for Francois' senior year too, but he still stayed here. Bailey Hockman didn't do that. Nobody in the country does that anymore. So it's really cool. Maybe that'll start a trend where kids that get beat out for a year don't just go put their tail between their legs and fly off to another school and do the same thing at another school that they just got done to them. I mean, I like that James Blackman stuck it out. He is a true Seminole, whatever you think that means. He literally loves this program and loves those kids, and it's cool that he gets to lead them this year.
Ira, we've been at practice. I mean, they've had like 19, 18 of them open to us. You've been at pretty much every single one of them. We've been able to watch individual drills. I guess just have you seen any sort of growth from James Blackman from 17 to 18 to 19? I guess just, from what you've seen, does it just seem like to be the best call, the easiest decision, that he was playing better than Alex?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's a better quarterback than he was 2 years ago. Certainly throwing the football from an accuracy standpoint. Go back to 2 years ago, he wasn't all that accurate. And if you go back to last season, I thought DeAndre was much more accurate. I thought, and you and I disagreed a little bit on that, but I felt like DeAndre was more accurate in practice. What we saw, maybe not always in games, but in practices, this to me, it wasn't really much of a competition from what we saw with him and Horner. I thought he was more accurate. He's got more arm strength. You certainly think he would have a better understanding of the offense based on the fact that he's been under Kendall Brown since January, whereas Alex Hornibrook just got here this summer. The only thing that kind of concerns me, and we talked about it, a week or so ago after we talked to Kendall Briles on media day, was Kendall kept focusing on not making mistakes, not turning the ball over, who's going to get in the car and just drive in a straight line and get us. Well, those all kind of implied maybe a guy like Hornibrook would have a chance because he doesn't have the big arm, but maybe he would make all the right decisions. So that was kind of the only wild card. But in terms of physical skills, yeah, I don't think it was much of a competition. And that's not even taking into effect the more time he's had in the system and also, the intangibles that Corey mentioned earlier.
Corey, when we've asked Willie about James and his ability, he always kind of pivots to James's character. When we asked Kendall about that on Media Day, Kendall gave us some insight in terms of his arm talent, his decision-making getting a little bit better, his accuracy being okay, maybe a little shaky with the ball. Do you think we will hear Willie on Monday when he speaks at his press conference on Monday finally talk about James Blackman, the quarterback, and not so much James Blackman, the spiritual leader of the offense or the locker room?
Yeah. I mean, you can't just sell not that he's trying to sell anything, but when you're talking about your starting quarterback, you can't just list all the things that make you hear that. We get it. We all like him. He's a good kid. He's a really good interview. They contest or sell magazine subscriptions. So, I do think that actually say he's got a huge arm. He reads the defense well, all that.
Yeah. My hamster on the wheel is going pretty slow tonight on the internet, so we're a little bit choppy on the connection. I apologize to folks at home. Ira, is there anything you want to add in terms of just, will Willie finally, I guess, give an endorsement of James's ability rather than just, the way he carries himself off the field?
Yeah, I think he will, and I think he'll say that he's always felt that way. I mean, he's going to give 100% endorsement for James Blackman at his press conference at noon on Monday, which we'll be covering, and people can obviously watch at WarChant.com. We'll have the recap and complete coverage afterwards. But yeah, I'm sure he'll give him the complete endorsement while also complimenting Alex Hornibrook for giving it a good effort. I think the only really big question I have now is, what is Alex Hornibrook? How does he carry himself going forward? Because he's gotten such great reviews since the summer, since he first arrived, how he worked so hard to learn everybody and become a good teammate. And then if you watch him in practice, I was watching him last week, he's coaching up receivers. He's very, taking ownership of the offense. Well, now he's going to deal with the fact that he won't be the starter on Saturday. Does he handle that well and tell himself, okay, well, I'm going to be ready when my time comes, if my time comes this season? Or does he kind of dial back a little bit and become a little bit more reserved? So I think that's something I'm more interested in that going forward than I am like how Blackman handles it or how Willie sells it. Because I think, he's obviously going to be positive. And James, we know that he's going to embrace this. I mean, this is what he's been dreaming of for 2 years.
Corey, hopefully we still have you here. I guess just maybe for the fans' perspective of this, just the fact that I think for them to get Alex on campus, they probably really had to sincerely sell him on the fact that it was going to be a legitimate open competition. The fact that James is able to win the competition in the eyes of the coaches against a worthy adversary, is that a good sort of confidence shot for James, for the fan base to see that there was a competition held and they've figured out who's best?
I mean, yeah, you kind of broke up there. I'm not sure what you asked there at the end. I think it's ridiculous. Oh, these lines at Popeyes. I mean, people are such sheep.
Oh, man.
And literally every Popeyes I drive by, it is a line on the street. People, come on, man. It's going to be there in a month. And you got to go to Zaxby's anyway.
Right.
As far as Blackman, yeah, I would guess that's a worthy adversary. I was never a huge fan of Hornibrook because I saw him play before. That was rude. I saw him play before, but he wasn't very good. He was never all that electrifying. So I don't think he beat out a great quarterback. But yeah, I think more than anything, it would have been a bad sign if he had lost the job to Alex Hornibrook. I think he did what he was expected to do and beat just a okay quarterback. But a quarterback that could be important to this team because he does give you depth and he's got some big game experience.
All right. So, what can folks again look forward to that might just be joining us right now, Ira? What will you have further on the developing news? Again, James Blackman, the starter for Florida State. They tweeted out the news. He'll start against Boise State at quarterback for the Noles. What you got for everybody on WarChant.com coming up?
Yeah, I'll have a column with my take. Corey deferred to me this time. He said he wanted to enjoy his Sunday night reading a book. He didn't want to write a column, so I'll be writing that column. So people can read that either late tonight, early in the morning. And then, like we said, Monday at noon, Willie Taggart will have his press conference, so we'll get a chance to sit down with him. I'm curious to see what they do with the quarterbacks this year. I mean, this is a little bit more settled. I wonder if there's any thought to making him available at press conferences the way in previous years, maybe the starting quarterback might have press conference availability. I don't think we did that with DeAndre. You just get DeAndre on the field with the other quarterback, with the other players. I'll be curious as James is kind of the face of the team now, if maybe they bring him in press conferences. But that's the main thing going into Monday.
Yeah, I want to ask you guys a question, but you really want to be able to answer it. So I do wonder if we'll ever be able to find out just how much, like, what was the input between Willie and Kendall? Was it a sort of a unanimous thing? Was one guy, was there consensus sort of outlook on it? Maybe we'll be able to ask Willie something like that and find out on Monday. But in the meantime, head over to warchant.com for the latest on the developing news. Again, the James Blackman named starting quarterback for Florida State in Week 1 against Boise State. Corey and I will follow up with our thoughts on Wake Up War Chant, the podcast. That's available wherever podcasts are available, as well as here on the YouTube channel. So, Ira, Corey, thanks for being available at such a late hour on such short notice. And thanks for your insight into pop culture zeitgeist when it comes to chicken sandwiches. Corey, you're the best, man.